the Solution Series, brought to you by Doubleradius and hosted by yours truly, Jeff Holdenwood. Today, I want to welcome a special guest from Alpha Wireless, Sam Hall.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for being here today.
Nice to be here.
Alpha Wireless is an antenna manufacturer, and they specialize in your CBRS antennas, concealment antennas, multi-band antennas. But right now, I want to jump right into what, in our space, I would say could be a flagship product, and that would be your AW3161. Can you tell me a little bit about that one?
Sure. It's this is actually right in front of us here. So it's a 4-port CBRS antenna. It's got high gain. What's unique about it is it's actually got variable tilt. So you can see on this one, there's actually a knob that allows you to adjust the tilt, the electrical tilt of the antenna. We have one that also has remote electrical tilt, but this is really the highest performing antenna in this space. So for a standard 65-degree deployment, this would be the antenna that we see, and it's clearly the one that the vast majority of people are deploying. So it's a very common, very high-performing antenna, and Doubleradius has a ton of stock of it. So it is available for you to ship today.
Yes, we do have a lot of stock of this, and it is a very popular antenna. We've seen it flying off the shelves lately to various WISPs around the country. So now you mentioned that this is a 65. So there's always been a debate, right? Sure. 65, 90, 65, 90, which should we go? What do we do? What is your take on that?
So interestingly, right, so 65 and 90 actually have to do with where your energy is mostly focused. So, but a 90-degree antenna is going to have less gain than a 65-degree antenna. So when you actually look at the overall signal, where it covers, can't think of that word today, but when you compare the two, there's very little difference between a 65 and a 90. The biggest difference is that your gain at the far end is going to be less with a 90. Our recommendation, the recommendation of pretty much all the major carriers in the U.S. is 65. That's what they go with as a standard. 90, there are places where that makes good sense, but I would say generally 65 is what we see and what we recommend.
So when you do that, you still want to deploy 4 of these to almost cover your 360. Is that
well,
how you feel about
yeah. It? Well, the standard is actually 3.
3. Okay.
So it's kind of surprising, but again, because that signature pattern is so wide, the 65 is where the focus is, but it's actually about 120 degrees wide. So you can actually cover with 3. Okay. You will see a little bit of a drop off, but generally, if you're deploying a 3-sector environment, you're going to deploy others in the area, and they provide coverage over the top. So 65 is by 3 is your standard deployment.
Okay. There's still no issue with doing it on a 4, right?
No, absolutely not. 4 works, 2 works. I mean, it really depends on the environment that you're trying to cover, where your cellular signature needs to be. Mm-hmm. Okay. So, yes.
Perfect. So now Omnis are something where we know as you make the signal cover, broader and wider, the signal strength goes down, your power goes down, right?
That's right.
Your DBIs and everything else. So where actually does an Omni fit, or where do you see Omnis fitting into today's world?
Well, it depends on a couple of things. What assets you have access to. So an Omni is going to provide you, as you mentioned, a very nice wide coverage, 360 degrees. But generally, if you go up high with an Omni, you don't get as good a coverage on the ground. So if you've got like a suburban environment, urban environment, we see Omnis used there regularly, where they're just trying to get a footprint of coverage. They're not worried about penetration so much. It's really more about overall coverage across an area where they don't have high assets. Mm-hmm. Clearly, if you're going up on a tower, a panel antenna makes the most sense because you have more energy actually that you're radiating. You can actually direct it. And Omni is pretty much just a blanket coverage. So that's where I would use it, is in a lower, like a street light type asset, maybe a rooftop type asset where you're in the area where you've got a lot of people. You don't need to penetrate quite so far.
We also call it, micro cell coverages, where you're trying to hit, like, you only have a handful of customers or less dense area, and you just need to sign up a few customers that are close. It's a great place for an Omni setup there. Now, you guys also create dual band antennas, right?
That's correct.
So when I say dual band, you have a lot of different ones, but in the WISP space today, what we're seeing is mainly your 3 gig and your 5 gig.
Right.
So can you tell me a little bit about what y'all are doing there?
Sure. Right. So that product is called the AW3697. It's a 8-port antenna, so it gives you 4 ports of CBRS, 4 ports of 5 gig. Each of those is at 17 dBi gain. It's a 65-degree panel. It's about 4 feet tall, so it's a little bit bigger than this one, about a foot longer. Again, it's a perfect solution for if you've got CBRS and you've got 5 gig and you're trying to deploy it. This allows you to do both with one antenna. So you can actually, if you want, you can. If you're leasing towers specifically, the less you put up, the better your savings, or the less you're paying. So putting up one antenna that can support 2 is the absolute right solution. So again, that's a product that Doubleradius actually has stock of. So it's a great solution to be able to deploy. And there may be areas where you're already have 5 gig, you've already got a 5 gig asset deployed, but now you want to add CBRS rather than add a second antenna. Just go up, replace the one you have with this, and then add the CBRS radio to it. So
it's a great aspect. If you think about CBRS today, its primary deployment plan is for near non-line of sight, covering out to X amount of areas. If you add the 5 gig, you get line of sight coverage and gives you the ability to sign up more customers in a given sector. Once again, doing it with one antenna, you're saving time and money. You're saving time on the install. They're not billing you as much on the tower, so it could be a good price savings for that. So we all know that there's a lot of antenna manufacturers, right? So what do you think sets Alpha apart from your competitors?
Well, a couple things. We're Irish, which means we're really good guys to work with. I'm not Irish, but my headquarters is in Ireland. But they have been doing carrier grade solutions from the very get-go. So when we build a product, this product is built to go sit outside for 15 years with no reduction in performance. That's what's designed. So we've got customers that have got antennas that have been out there for 15 years. They've replaced the radio 3 times or 4 times, but they just use the same exact antenna. So they started with WiMAX, and now they're doing LTE. They just literally unplug one radio, plug it back in, and they go, we don't have to do anything. That antenna still performs like the day we opened it up. So that's really part of what really sets us apart, is just the quality of the solution that we have. We also do a lot with optimization of signal, reducing interference sector to sector. So those are some of the other things that really set us apart. But I would say quality and the fact that we're Irish. Stop by our booth, wherever we're at. We usually have some Irish whiskey. Hey, good stuff. Good stuff.
That's great. That's great. So you were a part of our road show that we hosted here at Doubleradius, and we really appreciate you coming in and taking the time and spending time with our clients. So what were your thoughts, or what is some of the feedback that you got from some of the clients that were here?
Well, I thought it was great. I love, because at the end of the day, right, this is just one part of the overall solution that needs to be deployed. And so bringing all of the parts of the solution together in one place, being able to talk about it, bounce ideas off each other, cooperate and collaborate. 2 C words that are tough to say, but that kind of environment is just so helpful. And I think the fact that as you were talking yesterday, it's like, look, you should be helping each other, and I saw that happening. So the guys from Carolina West, I guess, I don't know if I can say that, they were here. They were talking to the guys from Open Broadband, and they were saying, look, we can help you. You guys probably need a tool. This tool, we use this tool. It's really good. It can help you. And so there was a lot of collaboration, and I just thought that was great, because we're all in this together. We're trying to lift the water level for everybody, and it was great to see that happening.
Well, we appreciate you being a part of that. And please keep an eye on our website. We will be hosting road shows more throughout the year. We're taking them on the road. We wanted to start one here at our office, and now we're going to bring them closer to you. So please stay on the website. Check out those events as we launch them, and hope we can see you there.
So we're riding in your van next time?
Sure. We'll take the hockey van.
All right.
There we go.
That sounds good. That sounds good.
Last thing I want to talk about. So, multi-band small cell, right?
Yes,
you guys are doing stuff in that right there. Can you explain a little bit to the viewers what you're doing multi-band small cell?
Right. So we actually have a contract with a couple of different carriers. One of the larger Northeast carriers in the U.S., and they actually own spectrum in multiple bands. So they own 600, they own PCS, AWS, they are deploying CBRS, and they also have some 500 or 5 5 gig stuff that they're also wanting to do. So they came to us and said, look, we want one antenna that can handle all of that. And we said, well, what do you want that antenna to do? Do you want an Omni? Do you want back-to-back? Do you want, 120-degree 2 sectors? And they said, well, yeah, actually all of that. So we said, all right. And so that's actually what we've done. So we have a very rich portfolio of small cell antennas. They're 2 feet tall by 14.5 inches in diameter. And you can get an Omni, back-to-back, 120-degree sector, and single sector, all that look exactly the same. So the goal for them is any place they go, it always looks the same, but it might actually have different insides. But they're deploying 600, CBRS, and PCS or AWS or whatever they want, and it's up to them to what to connect to. So it's a great solution. We'd love to talk more about, and I know in the WISP space, a lot of times there's not multiple different bands, but in partnership with others, there are ways to make those multi-band solutions beneficial for you.
Cool. Well, that's interesting. Sam, I really appreciate you being here today. For those of you watching, please check out Alpha Wireless's website. Please check out our website. As always, reach out to your sales rep at Doubleradius. They'll be able to help make sure we get the right antenna for the products and solutions that you need. Thank you again for watching the Solution Series, and have a wonderful day. See you again soon.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.